Bart would often challenge his students, "Show me your Christology, and I'll tell you who you are." Christology, of course, is the study of the life of Christ, or the theology of the person of Jesus Christ. Bryant paraphrased Bart's words, suggesting, "What you think about God's Son is the single most important thing anyone can know about you." Bryant further explained, "In a profound sense, the core identity of any Christian must never be separated from his or her vision of Jesus Christ. That's because Christ is the core identity of Christianity itself." Bryant then asked our staff, "What do you think about God's Son?" I could almost hear the corporate minds of our staff, the majority of whom are under the age of 35, silently responding, "He's really cool," or even, "He's awesome." Everyone in the room, of course, knew that Jesus was the reason for our ministry's existence. For one thing, it's in the very name of the ministry, Every Home for Christ. We often say our name is our mission. Everything we do is about Jesus. Our goal is to take the good news of Christ's love to every home on earth. But what David proposed next in his brief message that morning brought pause to most, if not all, in the room. It was a challenge for each to engage in an imaginary exercise. It was meant to help everyone stop and think about how well we actually knew who Jesus is, right now. That simple exercise profoundly affected me. For days afterward, it was on my mind almost constantly. I had been in the crosshairs of David's challenge. In fact, it has led to the writing of this book. Here's how it unfolded. Captivated by a challenge. Bryant shared, "Imagine you have just been invited by the most popular radio talk show, a worldwide talk show, to answer a single question. Your response would go global. Billions will hear. You will have 3 minutes to speak to the entire world about Jesus." The talk show host then gives you the question and hands you the microphone. The question: who is Jesus Christ right now? Your head spins for a moment. You do recall how Jesus asked a similar question of his disciples centuries ago. It's recorded in Matthew chapter 16, verse 13. "Who do men say that I, the Son of Man, am?" New King James Version. Now it's your turn to tell the whole world. David amplified the question by suggesting the radio talk show host asks you, how would you describe God's Son in terms of all that he is at this present moment? He then adds a bit of clarification to the experiment. Keep in mind, your goal is not to tell the listeners about who Jesus was in the past during his earthly ministry, nor is it to tell about who he will be someday when he returns in his glory, but who he is right now. Further, you're not being asked to explain what Jesus has done for you personally, as wonderful as that has been. David further explains, "You see, this isn't about you. Whether you or I exist is irrelevant. You're to describe simply who Christ is as the person of God's only Son, exalted at this very instant as sovereign Lord over heaven and earth." I knew our staff had been captivated by the challenge, as was I. Later, after spending a better part of the day with David praying in one of the numerous prayer grottos at our ministry headquarters, the Jericho Center, I mentally went through that simple exercise. Here I was, leading a ministry, sharing the good news of Jesus with as many as 350,000 families every day, at their doorsteps, in 150 nations, and I saw myself stammering and stuttering at an imaginary microphone, trying to describe who Jesus is to me right now for just 3 coherent minutes on a worldwide radio broadcast. What followed over many months was a desire to get to know the Jesus who changed my life 6 decades ago in a much fuller and richer way now. Becoming a Christ explorer. David Bryant's challenge soon led me into a year-long pursuit of exploring the wonders of the nature of Christ. With scraps of folded paper in my pocket at all times throughout each day, whenever I thought of a new descriptive adjective picturing the nature or character of Christ, out came those scraps. Soon, I was adding passages of Scripture that highlighted these qualities.